I'm Commander Shepard, and the Unnamed Games podcast is my favorite podcast on the Citadel. Shepard out.
Hello, people of the internet, and we are back after a mini hiatus. It was a bit of a squiffy time around E3. We'd done all sorts of this, that, and the other, and so we sort of took a bit of a break from last weekend. Thought, you know what, let's just power through, because to be honest, we'd covered everything. I don't think anything else was going on, so it had just been us three sitting here talking rubbish, which is what we do normally. Oh well, anyway. So this week, as you can see, I have Mr. Chris Ratley. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, sir. Very well. Thank you
Feels
very
like
much
it's
for
been
asking.
ages, even though it hasn't been ages. It feels
I know.
like it's been ages.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird, definitely. And I think we can officially now say that I think Alan has probably, I don't know, he might be dead somewhere in a ditch. I don't know, because this bloke called Thunderlips McQueen keeps turning up. How are you, Mr. McQueen?
Yeah!
You are indeed.
Indeed, yes. I am doing just fine, my friend. It's good. It was damn fine to see you in the person as of E3 weekend. It's been far too long with that evil COVID. Finally, the first time after what, year and a half?
Yeah,
We've
something like
actually been able to get. I think we had a bit in the middle, didn't we, where we kind of hung out in somebody's garden, all standing like in a triangle.
that. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, 10 feet from each other.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had about a half-hour conversation. So it's absolutely lovely to chill out with you guys and have a few beers and some pizza and have some shits and giggles. Yeah, so it was good fun.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Right, okay, so this week, back to the usual format. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat with the guys about what they've been up to, but we've got some news to go through, and then we'll have a little bit of a quiz. So I'm going to move around the room. I'm going to speak to Mr. Thunderlips and find out what you've been up to. What have you been playing? What have you been watching, my man?
Well, you know what? Now I am a member of the PC Master Race. Yeah. Although I say that, I just have to say very quickly, and we are going to be covering this a little bit later on, right? But we say PC Master Race, but by God, do I miss Quick Load from the Series X playing on my PC? Yeah, because one of the things I've been playing is Control, and I'll get to that in a second. But every time you load from one area to another, I'm sat there going, because it takes like it seems like forever.
Yeah,
But
we're spoiled.
to load, I know, and I've just got so used to like going somewhere and instantaneous travel. It's like almost seems like a matter of a couple of seconds. So there is that. But what I've spent a lot of time this week doing is I got the email this week. It is the Steam Summer Sale.
Oh, it's a dangerous time of year.
See, the thing is, I don't want to end up like Phil. Phil is like, I've got hundreds of games in my Steam library. And
Thousands.
I'm like, have you played them? No. So basically, all he's doing is lining Valve's pockets for nothing in return. He's got names listed in a
Hasn't he got a
directory.
Humble Bundle subscription, which he just keeps paying and just keeps buying stuff, which admittedly gives stuff to charity, so it's cool. But it's like at some point, seriously, at some point you have to kind of look at it and go, is this a good idea anymore? Have I got enough games?
And then I've got this whole thing about the fact that now I'm looking at games that I've been playing on the series on the Xbox in that, and then I'm kind of like, but it's better on the PC, sort of like RTSs like Surviving Mars. I'm thinking, I'm going to buy it twice. But luckily there is this thing called the Game Pass. So there's stuff like we've got the Halo Master Chief Collection. It's on both the PC Game Pass and the Xbox Game Pass. So I didn't have to pay for that. But some of them I'm kind of like, oh, do I buy? But at the moment I'm kind of I've still bought more games than I probably should have done in the summer sale. But I've actually been quite restrained because it's kind of like I've only played like one game out of the 17 I think I bought since I've got the PC. So there's just no need,
Mate. On that summer sale, one thing we did speak about the other night, it's an old game and a game that I love. I've already got it on Steam and it has gone on the sale for £6. Max Payne 3. Such an awesome game. Pick
I
it
played
up.
that on the Xbox, wasn't it? I'm sure
it was
I
on the
played that
Xbox, yeah. On the PC, it still looks so good when I fired it up recently. Just whack everything on Ultra. It looks incredible.
That's a lovely segue you've laid me into there, Craig, because as it turns out, Remedy actually, no, they didn't do number 3, did they? Who did number 3? Was it Rockstar, wasn't it? Yeah, but Remedy actually did Max Payne 1 and 2. And let's be honest, they've always been innovators when it comes to gameplay and making really interesting, great games. Yeah, Max Payne 1 and 2 with that slow. Yeah, exactly. And then we've had Quantum Break. Alan Wake. And then we had Quantum Break. And then I have been playing Control. Now, I had it already on the PC, and I started to play it, and I probably made it about halfway through, and then I got distracted by something else that was more shiny. And then about 2-3 weeks ago, Phil was on the WhatsApp going, hey, it's in the Epic Store, and it's free, and it's the Enhanced Edition. And I'm going to use technical terms now, with the ray tracing. Yeah, the ray tracing. So I thought, well, it's free. And I want new games for my PC, so I downloaded it and I started playing it. And literally, I finished the main campaign, Thursday? On Thursday this week. And I've had an absolute blast. That is such a quality game. The story, the gameplay, and the shiny surfaces. Awesome, that ray tracing. No, I'm not being sarcastic. It does make a difference, and it made the game very, very beautiful. It's just a shame that Remedy don't seem to have sorted out this texture loading issue. Sometimes when you go to a new area, the textures don't always load straight away, and that it's a bit of a shame because it's a very pretty game. When I think
it's an engine thing.
I'd say it's almost definitely an engine.
And you could usually get away with it by just going into photo mode and then coming back out, and the textures all load up, or you just wait a few seconds. But it does look amazing. Fantastic game. I've got both of the DLCs, which is Foundation, which it's good. It's not as good as the main story. I've played about 3/4 of Foundation so far, but I'm just trying to get through it to play the next one, which is the AWE one, which is the Alan Wake experience. Not was it? I can't remember what AWE stands for actually in Control. Something about World Event. Altered World Event.
Yes, it.
The DLC, it stands for the Alan Wake experience, and it's got a tie-in to the Alan Wake story, which there's already some mention in Control. So I'm really excited to play that. Got a little bit distracted because I put on City Skylines yesterday, and I'm now up to 15,000 residents. I did manage to kill about 4,000 of them by backing up the sewage, and they all died from drinking poo. But we've managed to get back on track. It's a minor thing,
Thunderlips McQueen for mayor.
Indeed. And yet, strangely enough, people are still flocking to the town. They're obviously, they're suckers for punishment. The other thing I've been doing is, and I suspect you want to talk about this a bit more than I, Craig, so I won't go into too much, but is some D&D Dark Alliance, which came onto Game Pass this week. I've had some really great fun with that. It's certainly not a perfect game. It has issues. Do you want to talk about that, and I'll leave that alone?
Sure, if you like,
Cool, no worries. But similar to games like Vermintide and the setup and everything else, the combat's a bit more involved, I think, than something like Vermintide. But I've really enjoyed the experience, and I hope we can play some more. It's a bit tired last night, sorry, mate. And as far as watching stuff, I'm still watching SWAT. Actually, I watch it on Netflix, and then it's a bit of a guilty pleasure because that's for the story really isn't. We're not talking some cleverly written sort of like storyline here. It's just 6 big burly, 5 men and 1 burly woman. She's not burly, she's very petite and very hard ass. Love Chris, she's awesome. Not your Chris in SWAT. No, I like your. Oh, never mind. Anyway, forget it. What am I talking about? But anyway, that's awesome. But then I found out that actually it was only series 1 and 2, but it's actually on now as well, which I was going to cancel the subscription to, but I'm going to leave it another couple of weeks so I can watch series 3 and 4 because Sky, I think, own the series in general, and they've been selling it off to Netflix, but now get it first. So, but loving that. And then I started to watch Farm with Jeremy Clarkson, but I've only watched like 20 minutes. I think you'd have more to say about it than I because you watched it.
Yeah.
But
nice.
So bit of a busy,
cool.
Been fun.
Cool.
Oh yeah, and I had a muffin about 10 minutes ago. It was very nice.
Oh, lovely.
Hey.
Well, I think I'm going to break from the norm a little bit then, and I'm going to go next, just because we're kind of touching on some very similar things.
Do that then.
So,
fine.
We'll save the best till last, Chris. That's what it is.
You say that like it's going to appease me. Like you think that, being nice to me will win me over. And you know what, Craig? You're 100% right. It absolutely will.
He's so
quality. Right, where should I start?
Different discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. So I've been really looking forward to this game because, ever since it first got announced, I thought that looks really cool. Physics-based kind of dungeon crawler. Grabbing loot, and I thought it looks really cool. I'm not a massive Dungeons and Dragons fan. You boys are more than I am. I didn't know who the characters were. Apparently, they're quite famous characters within Dungeons and Dragons.
just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I was just playing with some cool dude with a hammer, which was fun. But so. But I was really excited for it. Coming to Game Pass, wicked. I won't have to buy it as well. And then the reviews came out. I thought, I'll have a little look. And I think the first one I saw was SkillUp's review. I didn't even watch it because I just saw this game is awful, or something like that. I was like, my word. And then I think
really can't recommend. I think it was.
That's it. Really can't recommend it. That was it. And then I think I watched the IGN review, which gave it 4 out of 10. I was like, oh no. I got into the demo. I was playing the demo, and that was on the Xbox Insiders. And I was like, this is really fun. I really am enjoying this game. There must be something fundamentally awful about it later on. And then when the game came out, me and Alan have been playing 2-player going through. He was, could you remind me his name? The Elf with Swords?
Dritz Durden.
Dritz Durden, that's it. And I am Wolfgar, I think his name is. Wolfgar, yeah, the dude with a big hammer.
So just for the layman, just put them into layman's speak so people who don't know. Which characters are they, Craig?
Elfie double swords and Hammer Dude. Yeah,
Hammer
You've got
there you go,
Archer Lady and
just Dark Elfie.
Oh, Dark Elfie.
Oh, Dark
sorry,
Elfie.
Yeah, and there's also Dwarfy McDwaff. With his sword and shield, like little,
love it.
Which is quite funny. But anyway, yeah. So going through that, it's picking up treasure, fighting monsters. You've got your special abilities and stuff. And yes, as Alan said, it's most certainly not a AAA, amazingly polished game. But it's really good fun, and I think it's been sort of quite poorly represented by giving it scores of 4s and 5s. I'd put it up there as I'd say it's a good solid 7 out of 10 from what I've played so far. There's a lot of people talking about kind of bugs for it, and lots of situations where the NPCs are just kind of standing around not doing anything. We've had that now and again. I
think we had one, didn't we, where there was one larger character, but that was the only time I've seen it, to be honest.
Yeah, we've had some quite epic battles going against bosses, right to a point where I think there was one boss where we were both down, no health potions, both down to a sliver of health. I died, and the boss had a sliver of health, Alan had a sliver of health, and he just managed to get the final hit in to kill him before we all died. It was a fantastic game. So I certainly, for anyone listening, I wouldn't discount it. It's definitely worth having a play, particularly if you can play it with some friends. Well worth a punt.
I'd agree with that. I think there are definitely improvements that could be made to the AI, and you could make some complaints about the aesthetics. I think there could be more variety and stuff. But as far as gameplay and the combat and everything else, and the extra moves and everything else you get, like you, I've had a hell of a lot of fun. I can't help thinking that people are being a little bit overboard, to be honest. I think other games would have got a much easier run. 4 out of 10 from IGN. That almost makes it sound like unplayable. That's just, it's not. It is perfectly playable. It has a few issues, which I'm sure they'll remedy going forward with a couple of updates and patches. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about.
I think the official rating of 4, I could be incorrect, but I think the official rating is bad. I think that's what 4 is, bad.
I mean, which certainly, is, what I've seen across the board, because I haven't played it yet, so I can't really think other than I've seen the reviews. It seems to be quite split, because you've got people like yourself having an absolute blast and going, "Oh, I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. Yeah, there are loads of bugs, but it's just really good fun, and I'm really enjoying it." And then there's like some people who are just like are going so hard on the bugs, and I'm wondering, like, some of the people I've seen go hardest on it are people I've seen who were previewing Diablo 2 remastered, and I'm wondering if they've been playing Diablo 2 and kind of come to this and gone, Diablo 2 is just way better. And they're using that. I mean, which, to be fair, it's a hell of a benchmark. But I'm just wondering if they're not being fair to it because, they've had that time with Diablo 2 and they're just like, It's not Diablo 2. I'm not interested.
It's quite a high bar to hold it to.
Yeah, admittedly, but
I mean, something I'd like to mention.
Your objectivity, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, something I'd like to mention. I've noticed this actually because I've been looking at Diablo 2, and I'm very, very interested. Are they seriously selling this for £60?
Yeah, of course they are.
I know it's a remaster, and it's a quality game, but
there like a special edition?
It's £60.
Special edition.
That's the ultimate edition. It's 35 for the normal one.
Oh, right. Because I was going to say, because for D&D Dark Alliance, that's what I think it's 35 quid as well. Well, I suppose the price comparison doesn't count, but I looked at it, I was like this. I love Diablo 2. I'm looking forward to that. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. But I am not bloody paying £60 for it, not for a game that's like 15 years old. No, thank you. I don't care how many nice new textures you put on it. I'm not paying bloody £60 for that game.
Totally, yeah, and I'm with you on that, mate. With you on that. Bouncing a bit off another game you were talking about, Mr. McQueen. You were talking about Control and all the ray tracing. I've actually been playing Metro Exodus, the enhanced edition on the Xbox Series X. And oh by golly, those ray traced lighting effects are absolutely stunning. And I was just explaining to Alan earlier on about how, graphics are graphics, and we know Alan's stance on it. He's if it looks pretty great, if it doesn't, he's not too worried. You're more of a gameplay man, which is totally legitimate. But what I was trying to explain to it with Metro is it fundamentally changes the way you play the game.
So I was trying to explain to him.
Not in that way, because you haven't played it, so you don't understand it. But the fact of when you go with the type of game that it's really, really heavily dependent on shadows and stealth. You have your torch, you have your lighter, you've got night vision goggles, and there was a particular level I went into. It was like a ship, all enclosed, and slaves all in there with all slavers around the top. I managed to sneak in, go and find a switchboard, flick all the switches off so all the lights went out, stick on my night vision goggles because it is absolutely pitch black. So put my night vision on, start taking a few guys out. Then they sort of heard me and put all their torches on, and I could kind of take my night vision off, and it was accurately lighting where everything was. So I knew really fundamentally, definitely where I was hiding in the shadows. And it just, you could, like you're setting someone on fire, the whole room would light up. You're just being very careful with everything you're doing and your positioning, and you're making sure you're turning lights out and stuff, because quite often, again, Alan was saying, you go into a game and it will say set the slider until you can only see this star very slightly, and you do all that stuff, and half the time, the shadows and stuff don't really work all that well. But it just makes such a difference to the game to play it, and plus it's also running at 60 frames now, which I think it was 30 before. And it's an absolutely fantastic experience. So again, I recommend anybody who wants to pick it up. I'm sure it's going to be on sale again at some point soon, because it's a free upgrade.
What I'm waiting for.
Free upgrade to the enhanced experience using smart delivery.
Not what happened with Control, sadly.
No, exactly. Yeah, which is why I haven't gone into that one. Because even though that's been down on sale for about £12, I resent the fact that I've already bought the game once. I don't want to buy it again just to have ray tracing and make it run a little bit better. I think, even though it gives me the DLC, and actually for like 12 or 15 quid or whatever, it was actually a bargain for getting that just for the DLC. But I don't want to do it because it's not just buying it. It's saying that's okay for them to do it.
Yeah, it's exactly. I'm the same as you, Craig. It's a matter of principle for me, because it was that when that moment they went, even the people who bought it and paid all the money for the DLCs at full up money and bought them on the day of release suddenly have to pay all the money again to get it. I was like, you could just jog on. I'm not going to buy your game now. Which is why when I played Control, and I haven't worked my way through it yet all the way, but I played it on Game Pass on the PC because I got all my ray tracing on the PC without having to pay for it. And I was like, you know what? Fine, that's how I'm doing it. You're not getting any more of my money than you'll get paid by Microsoft, sure. But I'm not going to put my hand in my pocket any more than I have to. I'm already paying for it. You can jog on if you think I'm going to give you money and support your cretinous behaviour, essentially. Really,
I'm totally with
like
you.
That.
Yeah, I think it was fairly widely. I think that was the opinion of a lot of people. It was, a real.
To be clear, though, that's probably not Remedy. That's probably not Remedy. Yeah, that would be the
probably not
distributor 505 games. So
I would imagine
whoever did it though needs a slap. Basically,
yeah, definitely.
Well, good, solid talking to. Don't.
Here's a way to make some dosh. And then just one thing I want to go through that I've been watching. Again, Alan lightly touched on it, which was Clarkson's Farm. So I was looking for something quite sort of chill. I don't know if Chris, if you ever watched Grand Tour or Top Gear or anything.
I do, mate. Yeah,
you do. Okay, right. Well, yeah. I mean, Clarkson. He's a polarizing character. You either love him or hate him. And the nice thing with the show, I mean, honestly, I put it on. I got absolutely addicted. I think I watched 3 episodes the first day, 3 episodes the next day, and then I just cleaned the rest of it off on the third day. I just couldn't stop watching it because it's basically set around Clarkson bought a farm in the Cotswolds with 1,000 acres, really just for the property, and he used to have somebody in the village used to farm it all for him. This guy comes to him and says, look, I'm going to retire, so you need to get someone else to sort the farm. And he thinks, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. So this is him having no farming experience, a privately educated boy from the city, coming into the farm and essentially messing every single thing up at every step along the way, and it is brilliant. He's got this young lad Caleb, who's about 21. He's a farmer boy. He's got his own farming contract and stuff. And he's just absolutely laying into Clarkson constantly, just non-stop. You idiot! You don't listen to anything. What'd you do that for? That's not straight. Clarkson, everybody's shouting at me. It's just brilliant. It's nice to see him quite humbled, but I would really, really recommend watching it. It's absolutely fantastic. So definitely get stuck in. That's on Amazon Prime. And I think that's probably everything for me to talk. I don't want to go on hours and hours and hours. So over to you, Mr. Chris.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been gaming-wise fairly dull. I've sort of been sinking my time squarely into Mass Effect still, taking my time with it, having fun. I'm currently working my way through Mass Effect 3.
I'm not on every box.
Yeah, I'm a very much when it comes to those games, I go into full completionist mode, and it's like, every side quest, every little bit, everything done. I've just finished Rannoch in Mass Effect 3. No spoilers, obviously, for anyone who hasn't played it. But yeah, that's as I say this about Mass Effect, it's a pretty powerful game, and for me, emotionally, it gets me every time. And I've done Mass Effect 3, and I've cried 3 times so far during Mass Effect 3. I won't say what happens again because of spoilers, but man, that game, it's just like, stop it! I can't and there was been points where I know what's coming because I've obviously completed it, and I just don't want to click that button because if I go down and do that mission, I know how it's going to end, and I just don't want to feel that way because it's sad, and I don't want to be sad, But yeah, I'm super. Yeah, it's super fun. To be fair, I'm loving doing it again. It looks really good. Mass Effect 3 does. I mean, they all look a lot better. We talked about this when we first said one, obviously especially. But it's amazing how good Mass Effect 3 looks at points, and there's a few things that really age it. Like there's obviously some tech which has progressed nicely, but yeah, it's good to play again, and I've been having a lot of fun. The combat's much improved from the others in the trilogy as well, so having a lot of fun. Watched quite a few films. Been doing a fair bit of painting as well. Had them on the background, so I watched a lot of guilty pleasure stuff. I watched one of my guilty pleasures, which guys, you watch a film and you objectively know it's a bad film, but you love it anyway. And for some reason, you just, even though really deep down it's a terrible film, and you're like, I don't know why I like this movie, but I like this movie, and I watch it repeatedly, which is, and one of mine is Battle Los Angeles. Like, I know it's not a particularly good film.
That's a great movie. I love that movie.
It's not. I like it. There are points where it's quite fun, and then there are points where it's like so dumb, and then it's just. I love it. I don't know why.
It's ridiculously good, fun movie. It doesn't have to make any sense. It's men with guns fighting aliens. It's brilliant.
You know what it feels like? It feels like a halfway house between Independence Day and War of the Worlds, and it can't figure out where it wants to be half the time. So it kind of just becomes a bit of a mess of the two, and it doesn't really work half the time. But I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't know why.
Watching that film upset me because I wasted my life watching it.
That's weird because we are so divided on this. I'm with Chris on this one. That is in my top alien movies of all time. I absolutely adore that film. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a masterpiece, but I love it. I love it.
If I was going to watch an alien invasion movie, and I had the choice between Independence Day and Battle of Los Angeles, I'd watch Battle of Los Angeles because, honestly, for me, Independence Day, runs out of steam about midway through because they blow up everything, which is awesome. Like, and you can't deny that. At that point, it's well cool. Then they have the dogfight bit, and then it just gets really boring for a while. And then it just gets stupid at the end.
And it's Jeff Goldblum trying to convince us all that somehow he can write a computer program that can infiltrate an alien operating system that he's never seen in his entire life.
Exactly. It's good job the aliens all shop up Apple, isn't it? You know, so it works. You know,
mate.
It's like,
tell you, if it ever happens, I reckon you could do it in Excel.
I've got a spreadsheet already, mate, and it's got some nice pie charts telling you how successful it's going to be. Yeah, brilliant.
So what we watched that. I watched a few things. I did also watch on Netflix a new one. I watched The Dead Don't Die, which I remember when it came out the cinema. I saw the cast. I was like, oh my god, I need to see this zombie movie with Bill Murray and Adam Driver and all that. I was like, oh, it was well good. I can't wait to see it.
That one. Yeah.
And I was really excited for it. And I never got around to watching it in the cinema. And I was like, okay. And then some of the reviews weren't very nice to it. And I was like, So anyway, it came onto Netflix. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I was like, it can't be as bad as everyone says. It's absolutely as bad as everyone says. That is a film where literally nothing happens. And yet loads happens, but nothing happens. And it's all just, oh God, it's so dull. Like there's one really clever point in the whole film. And there's a couple of little funny moments here and there. But my God, that film is dull. It just goes on and on. And you're just like,
I'm afraid I'm not entirely surprised. I watched the trailer and I was just like, it's
like, how can you fail with that cast? And it's just, it tries too hard to be meta at points, and it really succeeds. There's one bit late on where it actually made me laugh out loud. There's a bit with Adam Driver and Bill Murray where they're sitting in a car discussing what's going on. He goes, well, this is going to end bad. He goes, how do you know this? He goes, well, I've read the script. And I won't say any more than that. They have a discussion about it. And it's actually quite funny the way they do it. And that is like the best bit of the whole movie. But it's like 2 minutes out of 2 hours, and trust me, the rest of the 2 hours just is not worth that 2 minutes. Find that scene on YouTube. That's the way to watch that movie.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a punt. I'm gonna watch it because I saw it.
It's horrible.
But you said that's the thing. You guys said that about Army of the Dead, and I quite enjoyed that.
No, mate, this isn't an Army of the Dead thing. This isn't an Army of the Dead thing.
You should go back and watch Battle for Los Angeles instead. That's much better.
Okay, so I can safely say this. I have complete confidence that this isn't. I thought most people would like Army of the Dead, and I didn't dislike Army of the Dead, but I got frustrated with it. But I can understand why people wouldn't like Army of the Dead. I absolutely cannot understand how anyone would like The Dead Don't Die. It's just. I mean, I want to use words that we're not supposed to use on the podcast to describe it viciously because it's that bad. Honestly, man, don't waste your time.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
As a word of advice further than that, I watched the first, I think it was 40 minutes of a film called Anti-Life on Netflix, which had Bruce Willis in it and the guy who played Crossbones in MCU.
I know
whatever you do, do not watch that movie. I got into 40
no
minutes,
intention.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. I like bad movies. I absolutely love bad movies. This is just a bad movie. It's not one of those bad movies that's kind of fun. It's just bad.
Is that the film where they're wearing like exosuits that look like rejects from District 9?
Yeah. If ever there was living proof that Bruce Willis has actually retired and is just making money to live off, that movie is probably it.
Yeah. It's some people get a little job, like part-time job in a corner shop, or driving a taxi a couple of days a week. He's decided he's going to do some bad movies to get a bit of pocket change.
He don't care. He doesn't matter. He doesn't need to. Just make a bit of money.
Yeah, it's just that is just unbelievably dreadful. And then I've been watching some stuff like Final Space again because I love Final Space.
Nice.
Yeah. Although I don't know why I subject myself to it because Series 2 is just like all kinds of emotional gut punches throughout the entire season. Season 1, if you haven't seen Final, if you've watched Final Space, you must have.
I think I've watched one episode and I just didn't pick it up again. It was like when you just show. When you sort of watch something and it's just not the right time to watch it, or have you got other stuff on the go and you just don't go back to it. And I need to because everybody I talk to says it's really good.
It's quality. I've watched both series. I didn't cry
season
like
2
that
is
big girl for season 2, but I enjoyed it all the same.
It's great show. Really enjoyed it.
It's really good. It's very clever. It's like one of these things, isn't it? Because you get something amazing like Rick and Morty as an animated series, and you're just like, how can anything else compare? And it's just trying to compare apples and oranges, really, because Final Space is just a fantastic animated story with some top class writing. And whilst the humor is great, it's totally different from something like Rick and Morty. I can't recommend it enough, just like Chris. It's fantastic. And the second series is definitely a step up from the first one as far as writing and tropes. It's just awesome. It's a great series. You've got to watch it.
So I'll tell you now, Craig, if you're saying you're going to give The Dead Don't Die a punt, don't. Watch Final Space instead. Watch Final Space instead. I can promise you'll enjoy Final Space. I can promise you won't enjoy The Dead Don't Die. Like, honestly, it's just awful. So that's about it, really. So there you go, that's me.
Cool. Okie dokie. Right. Well, thanks for that, boys. So I guess now we'll get on with this week's news.
This is the news.
Cool. Right. So first thing we got up on the agenda is our very beloved Windows 10 is getting an upgrade to Windows 11, and we've had some details announced about it. Some fun. There's plenty of different kind of updates. You've got things, with changes to the UI, the way it looks, integration with Teams and things like that. Working across multiple devices. But that's not what we want to talk about. The main things we want to talk about are the gaming-focused improvements. Now, I know that a couple of weeks back we had Satya Nadella on with Phil Spencer. I don't know how I forgot his name for a second there. Talking about how important Xbox was as a brand to Microsoft. And I think this just kind of reinforces the point when they're launching their new Windows 11 with integrated Xbox Game Pass and cloud support. So effectively, directly from within an app that's already built into Windows, you can go straight into the cloud and start playing games. So, they are really investing heavily into this one. Also having auto HDR on games as well, which is a function that we've had going on the Xbox now for a little while. They're implementing that into the PC, which again is fantastic, because a lot of people use that in that media type way. And also, if you're running M.2 NVMe drives, I don't know the rate. I think it's 2.0 to 4.0. I'm not sure though. But they're using direct storage APIs now, very much like the Velocity architecture. So the problem that you were having with Control going forward into the new system, I don't know if it's going to be backwards compatible or just for new games coming forward. We're going to be eliminating those long load times because it's effectively allowing data to stream rather than going through the CPU into the GPU. It's just going directly to the GPU and into the memory that way. So things are going to load up much, much quicker. So it's due. I don't think they've given it an official date, Ratley, have they? I think they said it's coming into the year.
It's holiday.
Yeah. They like that one, don't they?
Yeah, it just means end of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just bitter because they said that for Halo Infinite.
That's December, man. It's December 100% because they're advertising 6 months of games, one release each month, and the last one is Halo. So it's December. We know it is. We just don't know when in December.
Yeah. I think you're right, mate. I think you're right. It's pretty exciting stuff, really. I mean, Alan, you're new to the PC market. Did this prick your ears up?
Well, my first reaction was, "You're kidding me, right? I've got to upgrade my OS straight away. I've literally just got a new PC, and you're telling me I need to upgrade already? Seriously? I mean, as I was saying earlier on, one of the big things for me was, it's kind of a culture shock, isn't it? Because, I've got a next generation console in the Series X, and some of the quality of life things that gives you, like quick resume and fast loading times, is something that you get used to really, really quickly. And as beast as my PC is, sitting there waiting for things to load, it's just it's something. It's weird. I feel like a spoiled rich kid complaining because his dad won't give him a Lamborghini for his birthday. It's like it takes 2 minutes to load.
Do you know what I always do in a situation like that? Is I always check myself. I reality check myself and go, do you remember when I was a kid and I had a ZX Spectrum and I wanted to play a game? And I always
it made that same noise I just made.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Because there was also one game I remember. One of my favourite games was Indiana Jones, and it would one of these games I would load it, and maybe 30% of the time it would work. So you take 10 minutes to load it, and then you cross fingers. If it didn't work, you load it again. So I always think back to that and go, I think back to that and go, it could be worse. That's what I always do. I just reality check myself.
That is a good mythology, but it is just so noticeable, and it probably wouldn't have been before the Series X. It would have been, I'm playing these great games with these super ultra graphics and everything else, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But it's just kind of a culture shock. Sorry?
It would have been way faster than your old Xbox because of the SSD.
Yes, it would have been. Yeah, totally. But now it's turtle pace. So, or turtle power. So I'm really excited from that aspect of things. When you started talking about technical stuff, Craig, and I think I dozed off a little bit there.
Yeah.
There's something about SSD drives, NVMe 2.4.
You've got one, Alan. All right, you've got one. So
Yeah, you've got one.
I've actually got one of those in my PC. I know because it was on the description when I bought it.
Yeah. I wouldn't have let you buy a PC without that on it, mate. Don't you worry.
Actually, that's part of the story, isn't it? Because I actually was going to build it before, and then we realised that it was probably going to be better to buy a whole rig already set up. But I'd already ordered from because of the lack of graphics cards out there and the amount of money they're being charged for them. It was cheaper to buy a pre-built rig, and quicker as well, because I probably would have taken me a few weeks to get all the part components and build it, whereas I bought this rig and had it at my house within 3 days. So my credit card looked a bit unhappy after that, but still. Overall, the update is great, and I can see the quality of life things from a gaming perspective are really going to be great. I'm interested to see what else it's going to bring to the table. Always with the new operating system like this, sometimes it's a case of what you're used to, and you're kind of like you don't want things to change. And I'm talking from the perspective of Microsoft Office experience more than sort of like the OS, but coming from a long-term love affair with Excel, some of the things whenever they bring out a new version of Office and you're kind of like, yeah, that's great, but they changed that and I really miss that. And it's kind of like, so there's give and take always with these updates. So I'm really interested to see what they're going to bring to the table other than those game enhancements as well, as far as the operating system.
I think they're just very much they're kind of trying to modernise the look of it, because Windows 10 does look very Windows XP really, or Windows 7. It's like it's not really moved along a lot, and I think they're trying to kind of maybe capitalise a little bit more on that fancy schmancy Apple market. When you got things like kind of thing that Chris has got, the kind of Surface Books, fantastic bits of kit. They want the fancy schmancy UI
I
to go.
I can see why you're in sales, Craig. What
fancy
you want, my good man, is this fancy schmancy stuff.
You mean my fancy schmancy Surface Book that doesn't take the Windows 11 update? That one.
That's the one. Yes, that's the one.
Bad luck there, Rally. Bad luck, man.
Good example, Craig. Good example.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Oh, mate. So, Ratley, moving on to you then, because you're Mr. Two PCs, one that won't run it and one that will. What do you think about it all?
I think it's great. I mean, I'm all for. I hate this thing of people being like, well, I saw a load of people complaining because it won't run on their 10-year-old PC or their 6-year-old PC. I'm like, this is technology. It does this. It's not planned obsolescence. It's just that technology moves forward at a pace, and things will change, and it means you can't. You can't keep up. And my Surface Book doesn't take it. My Surface Book is 6 years old. I'm a little. I mean, I say it doesn't take it. There's probably a workaround here and there that I can do with it. People are already putting it on those devices, so it definitely runs on it. There are probably just some things you'll have to tweak. As with the thing about running a PC, right? The thing I have with it is that it's not a planned obsolescence. Let's get that out of the way. Planned obsolescence means they've deliberately designed something to deliberately have a finite life so they can sell you a new one. That's not what they've done. Technology has changed. Things have evolved. From the gaming point of view, I think it's great, and it's great that Microsoft have over the past sort of 5 to 10 years have really realised how big that part of their Windows market is. In the private market of Windows, gaming represents just a massive chunk of PCs that are sold now. Because more and more people for light tasks are buying Chromebooks, because if they just want to surf the web, and that's come along. Phones have become a big thing for a lot of people. Less people are buying laptops because they've got phones now. So the PC has become a sort of two-pronged thing, which is the business / hardcore users, which are using it for maybe running rendering or video editing or what have you. And that's also split with the Mac, obviously. And then there's the Office and Excel and stuff like that. And then you've got the gaming side of it, where there's a huge chunk of people who just buy PCs to play video games because, like we've talked about before, there are, options you can do with modding and things like that. And I think for Microsoft to acknowledge that, sink it deeply into the OS shows that they're really taking that gaming market seriously. And I know that PC gamers are also some of the most just frustrating people to deal with, because when Microsoft try and reach out to them and do something like this, they'll go, oh, but blah, blah, and they'll start giving it all the, well, I can run it in this OS and get, it's like, look, they're trying to help you out here, stop, if you keep slapping them in the face every time to do this, they'll just stop doing it, so I think it's great. I like the fact they're baking it into the OS. Using a PC for some gaming, I'm like, I'm all for those Xbox enhancements coming along, because I was actually some of my friends were discussing today, so I'm actually putting in one of my WhatsApp groups. So he's got to launch Xbox One. He's like, look, it's getting a bit long in the tooth. It's starting to struggle. Is a Series S worth the money? Will I notice a difference from a Series X? And I sort of ran through the bullet points. And someone said to me in the group, they said, I don't get to play much, so it's not really worth me investing. I went, well, they only get 2 or 3 hours a week, say. I was like, yeah, but that's what you don't understand is once you go to a new console, those 2 or 3 hours a week are actually more time gaming instead of waiting for it to load or do stuff. And you'll miss it. As soon as you don't have that, you'll miss it. And like Alan said, he's gone to PC away from that like super quick load times that we have because of the architecture and stuff. And you do miss it. And like I've noticed on some of the stuff, it's quick on my PC. I've got a nice laptop where I can load up games quick, but I do miss it. My Xbox. And the one thing that I is just too good is Quick Resume. Like,
mate, I was just about to add
coming back from the Xbox to PC. Quick Resume is like, it's just one of these things that until you use it like in a semi-regular way, and you jump in and out of games like that, it's just like, how have I lived without this in my, it's
we
so
had that last
good.
week, didn't we, playing Dark Alliance? I joined the party with you, didn't I, Craig? And we went, right, I'll just load this up. Oh, I'm in. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's so good, And I think that if they're going to bring more of that sort of stuff to PC, I think PC gamers will really appreciate it. They may not know that that's a great thing, and like, PC gamers are also like the hardcore are some of the worst, because like you tell them that this thing on the Xbox or on the PlayStation is really good. They're like, no, it's a peasant console. It cannot be better than my PC. I will tell you why my PC is now better. It's like, look, mate, I don't doubt your PC is more powerful and does more things. But this is
128 gigabytes of RAM.
I mean, I get it. And if I had more money, I'd probably be that guy going, yeah, but check out my rig, But I also don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because I don't want that getting in my way of just having fun with games. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's sometimes where it becomes a bit of a measuring contest, shall we say, about like things, and you just go, really, just play a game, man. It's the same game over here that it is over there. Maybe the only exception would be when before ray tracing came along, and you were saying about ray tracing fundamentally changing the way some games play. Yeah, I could have got it. PC had a big screaming shout to go ray tracing, flex my muscles. Now like we've got that ray tracing on console as well. It's going to be it's going to be better on PC, but it's not like you're going to lose it on console. So I think everyone just needs to. It comes back to stop being console. Just stop being aggressive towards other gamers. Enjoy it, and Windows is giving you more tools to enjoy it. So yay.
Fundamentally on that point, this week or last week, I've been playing some Halo Master Chief Collection, a bit with you, Craig, and a bit with my son, Alex. And when I first set it up, I first installed it from Game Pass PC. I actually set it up, and then I went into the settings and the graphics settings. So I was like, right, I'll set it up. I'll put the frames per second up, and I put them up. It's like 60, 120, 240, 280 frames a second. You're having a laugh, aren't you? And you know what? I mean, those extra frames a second are what you need to be able to be so precise when you're getting shot in the head by everybody else. Because those extra frames a second do me absolutely no good whatsoever, because I'm still rubbish at it.
So we discussed that audio thing. We were talking about headsets, and that your mate said, like, what was it? Was it one of them said, I find the best way to locate enemies is to put my face in front of their gun.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's definitely I'm good at it that way.
Middle-aged gamer problems, right? Middle-aged gamer problems.
That's it. Yeah, like old grandpas running around with Zimmer frames in Call of Duty, basically. Like it's.
That's actually a good game mod. Somebody should put that in.
They should do.
That'd be hilarious.
But only people. So you have to put your age in, prove your ID. If you're under 15, you get a Zimmer frame, just so they can see how they feel like it. And we get a chance.
There's actually a slight delay on when they actually move their joysticks in the game. So that's our brain working. That's how they're going to experience it.
Kids you don't realise we play with permalag,
and then you react.
We play with permalag, don't we? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Me opening the door to my kitchen has lag on it.
It's funny because it's true.
I know. Man, we're going off topic here. We really are. So I think fundamentally, I think we're all in agreement. The whole Windows 11 supporting gaming and bringing more gaming features is fantastic. You know, obviously a big one being the whole Xbox Game Pass and the cloud storage all being included directly into it. And by the sounds of it, Alan, they've been doing a bit of behind the scenes work with cloud, haven't they?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, the xCloud streaming service from Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft have acknowledged that they are going to upgrade it to the Xbox Series X hardware for the service, but they didn't make any sort of concrete announcements. However, it has been noticed that some games are streaming on the xCloud have suddenly got expanded graphics options. And don't get me wrong, it's still in beta at the moment. So if you haven't signed up for it, you can't. It's too late. So they're doing a lot of stress testing and stuff like that. I believe that it's due for general rollout in September. Set to release to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate users apparently in September. But apparently they've been noticed some sort of additional graphics options for certain games, not for all. So it's obviously they're doing a little bit of testing. I think to Rainbow Six Siege and Yakuza Like a Dragon, where the option to put in 120 frames a second popped up. And then they also noticed there were vastly improved loading times. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. And apparently these are all connected to the extra power of the Series X CPU. And how that's interconnected. It gets a little bit technical there, and if I'm perfectly honest with you boys, I don't rightly understand how it works.
That's fine.
Maybe you can explain.
Do you want me to pick up a little bit? I'll pick up a little bit.
Say, maybe you can explain to me, because I'm trying to figure out that if essentially the article that I read made it sound like you're utilizing your own console to stream from. Does that mean you have to have your console turned on? How does that work if you're in a different country and you want to use your phone to stream your games? I don't know.
There's two different types. So they do a kind of an internet cloud streaming from your console. Okay, so one where you can I could turn my console on down there, and I could go onto my PC and I could stream it through my network, so I could play my Xbox up here, even though it's down in the living room. Okay, and that would be streaming it effectively like cloud streaming. Yeah. What they're talking about on here is the actual blades, or you ever seen like a server in where somewhere you've worked, where it's got like kind of slots all in a massive big stack cabinet. Yeah. Effectively, what they're doing, those things there, they're called blades, and currently they've got what's the equivalent of an Xbox One S in all of them, which is what we currently run cloud on. What they're doing is they're exchanging those blades for the equivalent of the specification of an Xbox Series X inside there. So all of the velocity architecture, so all that stuff that we were talking about, like that direct storage API things, where it can effectively, it's just a clever whizzy way of going, I can throw all the information at you really, really quick. And that's what makes it load fast.
That's really interesting, because you say that, and that immediately makes me think, well, hang on a minute. xCloud, that's a service that's available to Xbox One users. Mm-hmm. So that means effectively you can have an Xbox One and be able to utilize the power of a Series X and get the graphical and loading advantages that you would get from a Series X whilst streaming on your mobile phone or your tablet through your Xbox One. That's pretty cool.
Craig, I think he's got it.
He's got it. By God, he's cracked it.
I'll have forgotten it in 5 minutes, but I've got it now.
Yeah, I mean that's another kind of sort of side point to this.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, is the fact that they're talking about putting it some. I don't know if, again, I think they've put a window of coming later this year, isn't it? Where they're putting cloud integration into the dashboard of the Xboxes, so you can have, like Ratley, his mate saying about having an original, classic Xbox One, the old big black box. That there, he could effectively, if he's got a fast enough internet connection or a nice smooth enough connection, he could just be running Series X quality games if he's got a Game Pass subscription. That's why, when
be running Series X games,
Series X games,
Series X. This is the big thing for me. It's like that's the big thing is Series X games are coming to Game Pass day and date. So if they're Microsoft Studios anyway, so these people who can't get a Series X can still play those games. It's brilliant. Like it's so good from a gamer's point of view.
Yeah, again, that shows how invested Microsoft are in more so in the community than selling people more consoles. They want people as part of the family, and they're even willing to say, well, you don't even need to buy family. You don't even need to buy a Series X. You can actually play these Series X enhanced games by utilising our xCloud service. That's ridiculously good.
So
it's
good,
just
man. So
awesome.
good. xCloud is that thing which Microsoft investing, like you say, Alan, has put them in such a position going forward that they're when they were at the beginning of the generation and people didn't like to hear it when they said we're not competing with Sony, we're competing with Google and Amazon. And people who want to stream, and people were like, whatever, yeah, you're still selling consoles. Like when you look at it long term, I mean, you start to really look at xCloud, you can see what they mean by then. The people they're competing with are the people who are in the cloud, not with the boxes, because boxes are going to have a finite life sooner or later. We all know this. Like Microsoft aren't abandoning boxes, but we all know that sooner or later, when internet gets that good, the box will become irrelevant. You know, it won't matter what box you've got. You'll just
they're a loss leader, aren't they? They're a route to market. You know, they're a loss leader. They stick them out there. You know, more and more people can use that. The Xbox brand becomes more. It grows the brand, but it's there to promote their services. That's what it's all about. That's what they cut. You know, they're a software company, aren't they? At the end of the day. Yeah, it's
it's the genius move. It really is.
I actually the other day, because me and Phil do a game share on the PS5, and we've got Ratchet and Clank, the new one's come out, and I'm playing through the first one. I'm actually really enjoying it, and I do actually want to. I was a bit torn as whether I wanted to play the new one, but actually I'm getting to the point I do actually really want to play it. But the thought of spending 70 quid on a new game. Like normally, I think if it was normal, I'd have been a bit gutted to pay that extra tenner. But now, because Game Pass has come out and all of these first-party games and these fantastic, not even just first-party games, things like your Back for Bloods and stuff like that coming out, where they're just included in my monthly subscription, it's made that jump to pay 70 quid that much worse. The point that I'm like, I don't want to spend that money. It's just such a lot of money.
It doesn't seem like good value for money, does it? I mean, it's like, what was it, a 6 to 10 hour campaign? Didn't you? No,
say? I think it's about 15 hours. The campaign. 15 hours,
but even so, I mean, 70 squids for that. I mean, when you've got all of these games available to you for what, 15 quid a month? It's just mental. It doesn't make any. It doesn't make financial sense. It doesn't to me.
It's a very strange experience. It's that thing where I remember when Netflix started and everyone was like, oh, you know, I'd much rather just go buy a DVD or a Blu-ray. And and I was the same, and I still will buy Blu-rays, especially 4K ones, for something I really love, because there is no denying that you still get a better picture quality, right? But and the big caveat is this: is like even someone who is as hardcore as buying DVDs as me, and I had a hell of a DVD collection. It's just become something I won't do, because why would I? You know, I've got so much content at my fingertips. It will come to streaming sooner or later. If it doesn't, then I'll buy it eventually, you know, when it's cheap. But, you know, it's completely killed that well, like you say, not killed, but it's turning that corner away from that physical media or that 70 quid price tag. And the companies that jump on that the best are going to be the ones that survive and do best out of it. I think, you know, I think even something like EA might start to struggle with their FIFA releases, because people will start going 70 quid again.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, it's like that's starting to happen anyway, but like it's. I think it's only going to get worse the further into this we go, especially if some of the other sports games from somebody else start going on to Game Pass, things like that. Which again, we'll see, but it's just a very strange situation. It's a great situation for gamers because you get more games for less money, but.
The worlds are changing around gaming, mate. Definitely. But yeah, I mean, talking a little bit around the whole. Xbox as a brand, if you like, you know, they're starting to become a lot more widespread with their brand, aren't they? And there's been some other things popping up that have been shouting Xbox, haven't they, Chris?
Well, we had the Design for Xbox label, didn't we? We had the first of those was the B&O Portals, I believe, were the first thing to have Design for Xbox on them, which is basically something which Microsoft doing in collaboration with brands to say, hey, these have been designed with your Xbox in mind, so they will take the best advantage of your Xbox for this X, Y, and Z. And the latest thing is designed for Xbox monitors or displays or whatever you want to say. And there have been an early announcement of a few designed for Xbox monitors, including one 55-inch monitor from Philips, which comes with a soundbar monitor. It's a TV.
TV without a tuner in it.
Yeah, it's a TV without a tuner in it. And then there's also like a ROG one, so that's cool, 43-inch one. And there is a Acer one as well, which is 28-inch. So we've got like 3 at the moment that have been officially announced: 155, 148, and 128. So they all vary slightly on what they do in response times, but essentially we're getting to that point now where Microsoft are treating the Xbox like a mini PC essentially, and saying, look, we're going to give you refresh rates, response times, etc. We're going to give you these monitors that are designed to work perfect with your Xbox and do things. And I have to admit, like my TV doesn't get used as a TV that much. It gets used as an Xbox monitor more than anything else. Like the TV part of it is nice when I watch movies, but like most of the time it's doing Xboxy stuff. I'm just playing games, what have you. So I'm kind of at that point now where I'm like, should I be looking at this 55-inch Philips thing? Like when it comes along, it's like instead of the next, the next great LG OLED, because
Yeah. Have we got an idea on price point? Have they suggested anything around price point?
They haven't given official prices yet, I don't think. Let me just double check the article. I don't think there was anything there. I know the Philips one is expected to be, the Philips one is going to be $1,600, so $1,599. So I bet that'll probably translate to exactly that in pounds as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. The ROG one hasn't been priced yet, and the Acer one.
Welcome to the foreign language edition of the Unnamed Games podcast.
The Acer one, which is a bit more technical because it's also designed for PC as well. That's a 28-inch one. That's going to be $950. So they're the current prices. What that really means in terms of what they'll relate to UK or worldwide, you can usually do your maths from that. So yeah. 1,600 quid for a 55-inch monitor with a sound bar is pretty good pricing, really. And like I say, as a gamer, somebody doesn't really, I haven't got a TV there and stuff. I'm not interested in live broadcast TV at all. I watch Netflix and a few Blu-rays. It's piqued my interest. I want to see what the reviews are like on it. The picture quality is like.
Yeah,
sure.
I think for me, it'd be nice to see what that full motion video performance is like on something. You like to think it's pretty decent. And they've got the specifications. The design with the old HDMI 2.1, like you said, all the high refresh rates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're all 120 hertz, aren't they? Which is quite nice.
Yeah,
4K 120 hertz as well.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those sort of strange ones because more and more TVs are now coming out. All the new TVs are now coming out with HDMI 2.1. A lot of them are coming out with a 120 hertz support and things. And most TVs are starting to have game modes built into them again because the market's getting so massive. But they do look pretty fancy. I mean, you've just got yourself a new monitor, haven't you, Alan?
I think we've covered this twice already this evening about my lack of technical knowledge. But I just remember a conversation we had early on in the days when we were looking at, when I was asking for your help, Craig, at building the rig and everything else, and we're like, okay, let's go and look at monitors, and it's just it's an absolute freaking minefield. It is. There. I mean, it is, yeah. Even if you had a little bit of like base knowledge about what you're looking for, 4K HDR, blah blah blah. Every monitor's got a string of numbers and 16 different words at the end of every monitor, and it's like I don't know what all of this means. I don't. It's like, and I'm looking at. I've got a very nice 32-inch Samsung 4K HDR monitor, and I'm very, very happy with it. It's actually a lot bigger than I thought. Obviously, I'm not sure about the inches, ladies.
I think it's a 27-inch, mate.
Is it 27-inch? It's huge. It's massive, man.
27 Odyssey.
But it was about
standard bloke inches then. Standard bloke inches. Yeah. 32 inches, love. 32 inches.
It is, baby. And it was 330 quid, which I thought was very reasonably priced for what it is, and it's certainly a very nice monitor. My quick picture quality on everything is fantastic, and I'm listening to the prices you're giving me there. The Acer, that's the 28-inch one you were talking about. Yep. 900 quid.
Yep.
Does it do the washing up as well?
So
free hand jobs, maybe. Because for that sort of money, I expect an extra feature.
So it's got some stuff which allows you to have like multiple PCs plugged in and things like that, and it's like everything, mate. When you get to certain products costing certain things, they're not designed for everyone. Therefore, a niche, a thing, and I think with that, especially at 28 inches, it's going to be very high quality, very niche. Yeah, and people who know what it is and will want that, But it is going to be something which, isn't going to be for you, Al. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
That's the thing. My TV, 65-inch TV. Obviously, I didn't pay this for it because I managed to get a decent clearance deal. But my TV's retail when it launched was £4,000 for a TV. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's an amazing TV, but
It's more than a car.
There's no way I would have been able to spend that kind of money.
I was looking at new TVs and I was like, and then like because LG have just announced 5-year warranties on their panels, which was quite surprising. And I was like, oh, okay, G1s have got it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's about it. And the other one is the X series ones. I was like, I wonder what these X ones are all about. Then they've got a 5-year warranty as well. Googled it. That's their 8K OLED. And I went, when it's like 55 inches, like $9,000. I went.
It's insane,
the 65 inch one is like £18,000 or something. So I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I need that right now.
Should I sell my house and have the TV in the garden?
Coming from you that spent £450 on a pair of headphones that you returned a few weeks later, I'm actually a little surprised, but clearly that is above your budget. So
well,
I'll be honest.
If you had the money, I'm sure you'd still be buying it.
If I had the money to burn, of course I'd buy it.
So would I.
I don't have the money to burn, do I? The standard 55 at £2,000 would be an exuberant expense for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, the kind of thing I was going to go towards with you, Alan, really, I think is the fact that, let's say if we went into, you were being a self-confessed, almost not technophobe, but, you just, all the tech jargon, it just does your head in. So if you were going out to go, right, let's say I want to buy the brand new Xbox and I want to get a display for it. Oh, these ones here, designed for Xbox. That one's 400, that one's 200. That's my budget. I know it's going to work. Brilliant. It's a really good way of doing it, I think.
I think the other thing to think about there is as well, I was going to say, is that they're very much, by the looks of the 3 displays we've got at the minute, they're very much sort of geared towards your casual, your hardcore, and your sort of your mid ground. Your just like I'm kind of know what I want, but I can't quite afford it. Maybe bad budget conscious techo. So even though the biggest one is the £1,500 is the TV, that's like the big bang for buck with the sound bar is probably the value bid essentially. And you always get the lights on the back that light up with the corresponding image. It's for your casual. It's like, it's a big display. It does fit the box with all the Xbox stuff, but it's got all the gadgets and gizmos built in. And then you start getting the more hardcore variants as you go down. So you sacrifice gadgets and gizmos to have a better display and a more focused display. And then you get to that 28-inch one and it's like, boom, here you go. So yeah, I think, that's what they're obviously sort of looking at them like that.
I'd be interested to see the comparison between a standard TV set, because as I say, I'm one of those. I've had my Xbox set up to my standard TV, and the first TV I had actually, which was actually my first flat screen, I didn't have a clue how the damn thing worked, and I think I sat there playing on the Xbox for probably a year and a half before I realised that you could actually set it up in HD mode. So it was, and I always wondered why it was a little blurry. And then I finally figured out that was why, and then it was like really crispy clear to me, and I was like, oh, that's why, okay. And I think you came round my house, didn't you, Craig, after Ellie bought me this new TV a few years ago, and again it was just set up all wrong and in the wrong mode.
Give it here.
While I'm totally on board with this ease of purchase, and it's easy to set up, I'd be interested to see how they stack up against just buying a standard TV. What's important to you is the question, isn't it? For me, I want to have a nice picture, but I'm not going to spend £900 on a nicer picture. If I can get a nice TV for £200 or £300 that does me a nice 4K, then I don't know about the price. I could be something pretty rubbish, but you know what I mean.
I'll tell you what, Alan. Alan, do you know what, mate? There are times where I envy you, because I would love to be able to that with technology, be able to go, £200 on the TV, that picture's perfect, because I just look at it and go, that is absolute trash. And I'm so fussy, and I hate myself for it.
His TV's not a cheap TV.
I bet it ain't, yeah.
Because Ellie contacted me and said, what should I get him? And this is roughly what I want to spend. So I know how much he's spent there. It's a good little telly he's got there.
It's a great telly. But I was talking more about the one I had before. Which was like,
I don't have to spend thousands to get a nice TV. There's no question about it. But I wish I could be like you are, Alan, in that respect, and just be like, I just don't care. But I will. I've always said, and I don't want to be, sort of like intellectually elitist here, but it's the people in the world that, let's just put it the most tactful way that I can, that are less clever, spend most of their time being happier, because they just don't have a clue how shit things are. Yeah. So for me,
ignorance is bliss.
Exactly. And that's,
do you know what though?
It's true.
I agree.
So when
100%,
it comes to like TVs,
100%.
I just look and I go, yeah, I can see it. Looks all right. I'm enjoying it. Great. Thanks very much.
You know,
I don't
there's obviously
$4,000 on a TV because it looks all right to me.
And you know what, Al? You know that whole thing we've been having, the conversation going on about headphones all day. Like, the people who don't care, like you, are just like, I don't get it. But the people who do care, like, it just makes our lives hell, because the minute like I started to get a little bit distortion, I'm like, oh my god, they've got to be faulty. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? And it's like, you know, I start doing, and then I just, you know, dude, I'm testing everything. I spent my whole life like troubleshooting the tech I've spent loads of money on that should be the best. I'm like, why isn't it working properly? You know, and
I spent 99 quid on a Microsoft pair of headphones. My biggest challenge was learning how to turn them on.
Yeah, you know, I love those things. They're very, very good. I do love them. They're very, very good. And you know, part of me does wish I just bought them and listened to my own advice, to be quite honest.
So that's the takeaway from this, listeners and viewers. Ignorance is indeed bliss.
Awesome. Fantastic. Right, we've nearly wrapped up the news now. There's just one final little bit. We have somebody who is, quite often on this podcast, he's a fan of Aliens, but or even more so, he's a real fan of Aliens Colonial Marines. And there's a little announcement that's really tickled his fancy, isn't there, Chris?
Well, thankfully, it's not Colonial Marines 2.
Oh, please.
You know, though, I think for the memes alone, I'd love it. I'd love it just for the memes alone. But so Aliens Fireteam Elite has been dated. So
with a new little subtitle as well. The Elite wasn't there before.
Yeah, Fireteam Elite was Aliens Fireteam. As far as I thought, so I was like, you know. So so it's now Fireteam Elite, and it's coming the 28th of August, I believe, or 24th of August. I can't remember off the top of my head. Basically, end of August we get Aliens Back for Blood. And then 2 months later, we get Back for Blood. So I will say this for them. The very, very smart move getting out ahead of Back for Blood, because I think your game's going to die and it's when Back for Blood arrives. No, could be wrong. And I kind of hope I am, because I really want it to be good and I really want it to do well. But it's got a mountain to climb up against Back for Blood, because that's got the brand legacy and precedent behind it. Well, having said that, the launch trailer looks great. They've done a lot of things. Watching the IGN videos when they did all them a few months back, I didn't think it looked great on first impressions, but as they got further into the demos and showed more stuff off, I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, there's some good stuff in here, and I think it could be a lot of fun. I don't think it's going to be the kind of game, a bit like Left 4 Dead, you won't play it hardcore forever and ever and ever, but you'll dive in and out of it regularly with your mates, I think. You know, so I'm looking forward to it. I am, I think it looks good. I think it looks like fun. But end of August, we get Aliens Fireteam Elite, which is really cool, I think. So,
Yeah.
I'm now we just need to go on Game Pass.
That's it. Well, that's the thing. The price point is coming out. It's a $34.99 title. So there's a kind of a trend of these kind of mid-range AA titles that are coming out around that kind of price point. Who knows? Is it going to be another one that will move on to Game Pass?
It's a good move. That 35 quid price point is a good move.
I think so. Yeah. I think people expect less from a £35 game than they do from a £60 game.
Unless it's got Dark Alliance in the title, apparently.
Well, that's it. Yeah, but if they go, I'm not going to get 150 hours out of this game. If I don't get that, I'm not happy. But actually, if I spend 35 quid, if it is just a bit of a fun experience to play, it's all right, isn't it? You'd spend 35 quid. That's a couple of cinema tickets. If you're going to see a big screen or whatever. So I think that's a totally decent amount of money, but I think it looks really quite good fun, so I'll definitely pick that up at 35 quid. So gaming, I'll want to play with you. Are you in for it, Thunderlips?
I really, really am. I mean, I'm reminded about. I mean, it's one of those things where we and I think we are in agreement with this, Chris. That I just want a really good Aliens game. And I am reminded of old PC games. I can't remember which ones they were specifically, but I do remember playing old Aliens PC game and running backwards whilst aliens were running up the walls. And I'm like, like this, just running and just like running backwards, getting stuck on stuff. And it wasn't Colonial Marines, I'm going to tell you that. It was another
probably
game.
Alien Trilogy.
Could have been, Alien Trilogy, that rings a bell. And it wasn't perfect by no means, but that experience and that feeling as you're trying to rush backwards to where you're supposed to be whilst shooting frantically and they're getting closer and closer because there's so many of them, that just fills me with a huge amount of excitement. And if they can just get a nugget of that feeling in this game, then I am sold. I'm in.
I have to. Did you watch any IGN stuff when they did all the looks at it, Al? Because
I didn't see those. There
was a couple of bits. It started off and I was like, this looks kind of dull. They were doing a gameplay demo. I was like, this looks kind of dull. I'm a bit disappointed. And then there's a bit where they had to hold an elevator, and it's exactly what you described. It was like properly, like it was mental. They were like, and the guy was like, this is on easy as well. And I was like, Jesus,
you can imagine, you can hear the sound of the alien screams as you're.
They're putting all the sentry turrets down and stuff as well to cover different entrances.
We won't be playing it in a month's time, but we will have a glorious couple of weeks playing it. If it delivers.
I'm confident it's going to be a fun game. I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking or change the way that we think about.
Doesn't need to be.
I could be wrong. It could be really in depth and thing. But even the developers that were talking about it weren't really talking about it like that. They were like, "Look, we want you to have a lot of fun with it. There's a campaign where you progress and unlock stuff. There is a reason to come back and redo those missions and bits and pieces. We want it to be an experience that keeps going, but we don't want it to be. It's not designed to be a spend your life in this game. It's designed to be drop in with your mates, have some fun." Come back in every so often, just have a blast, kill some aliens, sort of thing. I was like, that sounds great to me. Like you say, I want it to be fun. Like Aliens has proven itself in the survival horror genre. We all know how great Alien Isolation is, mainly because none of us will play it because we're too terrified. And we just need an action game that gives us that kind of experience as well. Because let's be honest, Colonial Marines was just a massive bag of.
I want to be Vasquez. I want to be Vasquez. Come on. A short, very muscly Mexican. I'm going to say Mexican woman.
Latino, definitely.
Latino woman. Yeah, that's what I want to be.
Good stuff. Right, cool. So,
by the way, Craig, can I just compliment you on your segues tonight? They've been superb. So.
They have. They have been top notch, sir. Top notch.
Good. Is this good? They were, I thought they were quite forced at points, but I'm glad they've gone down.
Now we brought attention to them. They're absolute rubbish. But...
That's why I waited till the end to segue to compliment you on the segues.
Cut that bit out. So this is a great segue. Quiz.
Hey!
It's time for the quiz. Right, so this week, boys, I should have pre-warned you about a buzzer. You know what? Don't worry about buzzers. We're not doing buzzers. You can just shout out the answer, okay? So this quiz is based around this year's E3.
Well, I'm dead in the water.
So it's only a couple of weeks ago, so you can't blame your memories.
Just for the record, I can blame my memory.
Yeah.
And I have yet to have beaten Chris in a single quiz. Apart
this
from
could be
once,
the week.
I think.
This could be the week.
He might not have even been there that week, so I take that as a Christmas. So I hold out no hope whatsoever. And with my memory, but I'm going to give it my best. You're going to get my. I'm going to give you my best, Craig.
I did a lot of highlights for E3, so we'll have to see how this holds me out. I didn't watch all of the presentations, so we'll have to see.
So we'll see. Right, we're going to move into the hot seats. Oh, that doesn't work. You're off the screen. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll do it that way. There we go. Whoop. No, let's move it around. We'll leave it as it was. That was a bit.
I'm getting a bit woozy here, Craig.
Sorry for making anyone seasick. Right, question number 1. Stalker 2 had a subtitle announcement at E3. What was the subtitle?
Chernobyl Rising?
Close. You got one word in there right.
Is it Back to Chernobyl or Return to Chernobyl?
No. Same word right, so I think you know which word it is.
Yes, I know it's Chernobyl.
It's based in Chernobyl, so I mean, it's not exactly a giant leap, is it? Chernobyl Rasta. Chernobyl.
Heart of Chernobyl. Heart of Chernobyl.
Yes, Chris. Heart of Chernobyl. That is the subtitle. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. No, for audio listeners now, there was definitely not doing a heart shape on my chest at that point.
There was no visual clues. None at all.
Is that what that was? Was that supposed to be a heart? I was going to go for Chernobyl potato.
That was not a heart. That was rubbish anyway.
That does not look like
I can't do that for love of money.
Is it?
That's a peach.
Oh, man. Right. Question number 2. Okay. Which of these games were not at the Gearbox showcase this year?
Were there games? I thought it was just a movie trailer.
Godfall, Lemniscate, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, Tribes of Midgard.
Godfall.
No.
Tribes of
What was the
Midgard.
second
No,
one?
no, no. Actually,
second one?
hold fire. You've had one
You
guess.
said shout it out.
I know. I didn't
I
think
didn't
about this,
break
did I?
any rules.
You're right. That's probably a bit unfair because you just literally shout all four of them out.
Well, no,
one at a
because
time on this one.
Because I knew it wasn't the second two, so the 2 and 3. So when it wasn't the first
Oh,
one, I
and
knew
it's the
it was
last one, whatever that is, Tribes of Midgard.
Yeah, but
So you're saying Tribes of Midgard.
No, I
You
want to say
said
the second. I would have said the second one, to be perfectly honest. I would
right.
have said the second one. Yeah.
Well, you're saying the second one, Chris. Lemnis
What was the
Gate.
second? Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Lemnis Gate. You are right. It wasn't Lemnis Gate. Lemnis Gate is a different developer. Sorry, I didn't really plan that one out as well as I could.
And that is an
No, I mean-
interesting game. I'm interested in playing.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't
cool.
Godfall because Godfall's basic announcement was it's on the PS4
Yeah.
now as well. So
Yeah,
that game
nobody
that
played
couldn't
it.
be done. Could not be done on the PS4. It's now on the PS4.
Yeah. Could not be done, but actually we figured out a way to do it because nobody's playing it.
But don't worry, we're not going to charge you for it. No, forget that. We are.
Yeah. Right. Okay, next question. I tested an early access version of a game.
Oh,
What was
you
it called?
Suck! I can't remember that. Oh God.
And Alan has actually tried it.
I played this. Oh no, my memory. I hate my memory.
So while the boys are thinking, I'll just let everybody know I got to get some early access at E3 to try a game out, and I will be doing some once I can do some impressions of it now. So I'm going to put a little video out soon. Oh,
It's not even in there. It's gone.
I know what it's about. I know what it's about. I can see it.
It's a nice little game. Good
Yeah,
fun.
it's
I
about
enjoyed
dreams,
it.
isn't it? And it's about dreams,
Yeah.
and I can't think what it's. Oh.
the name of it begins with the word dreams.
Dreamscapes.
Oh, I'm going to give it to you, Alan. It was Dreamscaper. Dreamscaper. Yeah.
Well done, Al. Hold on.
Great stuff. Nice one. Cool. Right. Next question. Life is Strange Remastered Collection was announced this E3, but at which stage?
Square Enix.
Ubisoft.
Well, Square Enix. Well done, Chris. Nice one. Straight in there. Right. The sequel to Plague's Tale was announced at the Microsoft conference. And what was its new subtitle?
Rats Are Us.
Yes. No. Plague's Tale. Rats Are Us.
Is it Deliverance?
No.
Plague's Tale. Vermintide.
Requiem.
No.
Is it
Yes,
Requiem?
Chris.
That's it. That's
Requiem.
That's the one. Yeah.
Well done.
I don't know why
well
that
done.
came to me all of a sudden. I was like, it's Requiem.
Yeah, well done. Awesome. Right, okay, so editors from IGN, GameSpot, PC Gamer, and Games Radar collectively decided the Best of E3 awards. Who won the most anticipated game? Or what game?
What's
won
the
the most-
Horizon 5?
It was Forza Horizon 5. Well done, Chris. In there like swimwear. Would you have guessed that one, Alan? I mean, Thunderlips.
I was gonna go for Ascent, to be honest.
Okay. Right, so, and the final question is, who won Best Presentation?
Microsoft.
Yes, Xbox Bethesda. Okay, so after that,
Hang on.
Lightning.
Let me just get my shocked face out of the bag.
with one person on 6 and another on 1, Chris is the winner this week. Well done, Chris. Well done, sir. Well done. Good. Good attempt, Alan. Good try, mate. Good try. It was close.
I'm
It
such
wasn't
a
close
trier.
Oh, it's all a bit of a laugh.
You know what
though.
someone said to me the other day? It was like my friend Scott came over and we hung out for food. And we haven't seen him obviously in ages because of lockdown and stuff. And he said to me, and he's obviously never met you guys and stuff. And he listens to the podcast. He's going, I think Alan's great. And he's like, his humour, his dry wit is so good. I was like, I couldn't imagine us doing it without Alan. He cracks me up so much. Like they're just legend, man.
I'm going to start charging.
You should do that. You should
Get on
do that.
Cameo, mate. Get on Cameo.
Yeah. Cameo.
Oh man, I've still got my cameo from Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah.
I watch it often while I touch myself. But anyway, let's move on.
On that lovely note.
There's nothing lovely about it.
On that lovely note, I think
Make it
it's
so number one.
Yeah.
That's a bye from me, everyone. Anyone else want to say goodbye? I'm going to end the stream. Bye.
Bye.